What's up, guys? So I wanted to do something fun for this channel. I wanted to review some classic movies to see if they still hold up and just to see what I actually think of them, because I've heard of these movies for years and I am just now finally getting to watch them just for fun. So it's going to be a versus. So this is going to be part 1 of 2, and this is going to be the 1958 movie Hercules starring Steve Reeves versus the 1983 movie Hercules starring Lou Ferrigno. And the connection is that Lou Ferrigno was a huge fan of the Steve Reeves movie, and that's one reason he got into bodybuilding, is because he was a big fan of Steve Reeves. And I always keep hearing about Steve Reeves in these Hercules movies, and I decided to check them out. So do they still hold up? Are they still fun? Are they still good? Is the Lou Ferrigno one better? Is it cheesier? Is it really bad? I don't know. I haven't seen it, so these are going to be my reviews. So I'm going to do part 1, and then it's going to be Hercules 1958 versus Hercules of 1983. Then it's going to be part 2, hopefully next week, where it's going to be Hercules Unchained, which was the sequel to the original 1958 Hercules, versus The Adventures of Hercules, which was the sequel to the Lou Ferrigno movie. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and here we go in the review of Hercules 1958. Like I said, I have heard about Steve Reeves because this is basically what made Steve Reeves a household name. So he was a bodybuilder, and these were Italian movies that were became really popular all over the world, especially here in America. So does it really hold up? Okay, so Hercules is about, basically, it's not really even about Hercules, it's more about Jason and the Argonauts, and Hercules' involvement with that story. I'm not worried about how close it resembles and close it is to the actual mythology. I'm just mainly concerned about it being a good and entertaining movie. So that's the verses and what we're going to try to figure out in this. So with that said, so the movie starts off with Hercules just on the beach on the cliffs, and then King Peleus' daughter, I do believe is who it is her chariot is running off the side of the cliff, much like Back to the Future 3 with Mary Steenburgen, her character on Back to the Future 3, and Hercules saves her by picking up a tree and then tossing a whole tree to stop the horses from running off the cliff. And so he saves the daughter of the king, and this eventually leads into his involvement, like I said, with the story of the king who overthrew the previous king and killed someone to get the throne, and which should have really gone to Jason. And so we go to the story about Jason the Argonaut story that you guys probably know, where he needs to go and prove himself by getting the golden fleece, and in the adventures go from there. So what can I say for this movie is that it feels like there's a lot of story that was crammed into an hour and 47 minutes. It's action-packed. There is a lot of action. There's a lot going on in this movie, and it feels like there's not enough time to really fill what they want to tell in this story. And like I said, the majority overall, the story is not even really about Hercules. So Hercules and helps Jason on his quest. And on his quest on the Argos, you get to meet a bunch of characters that you don't really get to see on films. You get to see Orpheus is on the movie. You get to see Asclepios, of all people, is actually a character in this story. And they they all get together and they meet, and so they go and they crash on the island of the Amazons. And then for some reason Jason falls in love with the leader of the Amazons, and from there they find out by Ulysses, I do believe, aka Odysseus is how you would know him better, that the Amazons plan to kill the men while they sleep at night. So they sneak them out, and then they go on the adventure, and then they eventually find the fleece guarded by the dragon or the dinosaur that, ironically and strangely enough, has the roar of Godzilla. No joke. So this movie came out in 1958, like I said. So Godzilla came out in 1954. So Godzilla was a thing when this film was made. I guess you couldn't really trademark a roar voice because it was 100% Godzilla's roar, which would have been popular at the time. So it makes sense that I guess a lot of people use this roar. And I've never known a movie to actually rip off Godzilla's roar, and this one 100% did. So what do I think about the movie in itself? Like I said, there's a lot going on in the film, but I can definitely see why Steve Reeves got his kudos and got such fame for this character, because he brings a lot to the character of Hercules. He is strong and he's charismatic, and he really works well on screen. I mean, you really do believe that he has the strength of Hercules just looking at him. He's just really good. And another cool thing about mythology that they add to the character is that they actually have Hercules carrying his club. And I say Hercules because they stick to the Roman mythology of using the Roman names. Like, he's Hercules, and they would pray to Jupiter, and they talk about Venus. So it's not Hercules and then Zeus and Hera and all them using the Greek names for everyone else. They actually stick to the Roman names, which was kudos to them. So yeah, I'm trying to, in a short review, I'd say that there's a lot going on, and it all leads up to a climatic 6-minute end scene. So the end of the movie, Jason brings the fleece back after fighting Godzilla, and they all break off in a war, and Hercules uses chains that were wrapped around his arms. He breaks free of the chains, and he uses them Kratos style, and he goes all over the bad guys with whipping them with chains, which is actually really cool. And if you know God of War video games, I'm serious when I say that he goes all Kratos style when he's using the ends of the chains, whipping and beating up these villains of the movie. So that was pretty cool, and it could be an inspiration, because if you remember Kratos, he does have his blades wrapped in chains around his arms, so that could be an influence of that game series. So I had fun, a lot of fun on Hercules, even though it's really not about Hercules. It's about three-fourths of it's about Jason, with about a fourth of it being about Hercules, but still, Steve Reeves did a really well job. It's a fun movie. You got to go in, and if you're excited and ready for it, it's really fun. So I definitely would recommend Steve Reeves' Hercules 1958. And so I'm going to come back, and I'm going to tell you what I think of the 1983 Lou Ferrigno movie. And I already laughed because I've seen some little bits and pieces of what I'm about to get. So let's see if it lives up to what I think might be funny. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute. Oh boy, okay, so Hercules 1983, to sum it up really simple, is it if Conan the Barbarian, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Superman, the movie, and Battlestar Galactica all had a baby together, had a three-way and had a baby, it would be Hercules 1983. And that's not to say that it is a bad movie. It's a bad movie, but in a fun way. It is a popcorn movie, and to sum it up really simply, so apparently Hercules' mortal parents were a king and queen in this story. So it's already different. So get the idea of Greek mythology out of your head for sure in this story. So basically he's the son of a mortal king and queen who are murdered, and then the spirit of Hercules that was created by Zeus and the gods in Olympus, or on the moon in this movie, the spirit of Hercules goes into this prince, and he grows up to be the Hercules you know. And then the story goes on from there, where he falls in love, and she gets kidnapped by the person that's trying to take over the world or the kingdom. And so Hercules grows up, and he gets the help of Circe, or Kirke in Greek, to help him rescue Cassiopeia, his girlfriend in this film. And it sounds as nutty and weird as I make it sound, because like I said, Zeus, Hera, and Athena, who look nothing like Greek mythology, they look like spacemen from Krypton, and ever since the word live on the moon now, and they say they live on the moon, they help control Hercules. So you got the 80s special effects. You got the 80s soundtrack. You got unneeded lightsabers. So like whenever they're fighting with swords, when they hit, they light up for a second like a lightsaber. It's very much drawn inspiration from everywhere, and it's another Italian movie, but in all the good ways. It's a popcorn flick, and Lou Ferrigno, he has a really good presence as Hercules. And you know how I mentioned in the last movie how they had called him Hercules, but there was Jupiter and Venus. In this movie, it's what I said I thought would happen. So it's Hercules, and everyone else is Zeus and Hera and Athena, going by their Greek names, but Hercules. So overall, I know I'm going through this fast, but I kind of running out of time. Hercules 1983 is fun popcorn film. Nothing historic about it. So to sum it up between these two, I would say that if you want your Greek classic story, go with Hercules 1958 with Steve Reeves. And if you want popcorn fun that you just want to see over and over and over again, definitely go with Lou Ferrigno's Hercules from 1983. I can't stop watching this movie. I'm having fun. It's dumb, but it's a lot of fun. That's what I love about the Hercules movie from 1983. So there's your verses right there. Do you want to have a serious Greek tale that tries to stick with the myths, or do you want something that's more inspired by Superman and Star Wars and Conan the Barbarian? And really, Conan the Barbarian came out the year before Hercules 1983, so you can tell where all these influences are coming from. I don't even give it a rip-off of Star Wars. I say it's more of a rip-off of Battlestar Galactica because of how cheesy it is. But it's so fun to watch. So I am definitely looking forward to the next movies. I'm looking forward to Hercules Unchained, and then the sequel to the 1983 movie called The Adventures of Hercules. So both really good. Definitely check them out. And they are free. If you go on like your Roku app, type in Hercules, and you'll see it pop up 1958, 1983. So you can watch them for free, and they're definitely worth a free watch. So it's hard to say what I like better. I'm going to have to go with the 1958 just because it sticks closer. But for fun, definitely check out the 1983 Hercules. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. And next week, I'm going to get to part 2 of Hercules Unchained versus The Adventures of Hercules with Lou Ferrigno. Awesome. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.